Coming up on episode 13 and our first podcast of 2014.
Punch it.
This is Chris Alexander. I can't even say that. This is Chris Alexander, author of Star Wars Origami, and I'm skywalking through Neverland.
Mission accomplished, sir.
The key thing is he never pressed charges.
Okay.
Let's move on over here.
All right.
Never even thought about that.
Hey, where's Darth Vader? To be fair, I had to laugh for about 35 minutes. I went in for lunch.
You might not survive this story. Should we move on?
So, Mom, thank you very much for denying me that opportunity of seeing Darth Vader as the housemaid.
Good work.
After the Princess Half Marathon, Monique and I are going to receive 3 medals at once. 3 blingy, awesome medals. You want to know why?
What are you talking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Listen.
A billion years in the making.
Off to Neverland.
What do you know?
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of
Skywalking Through Neverland.
This is Rich.
And this is Sarah, also known as Jedi Tink.
We hope everyone had a very, very good holiday season and a happy New Year.
And you're listening to Skywalking Through Neverland, the podcast that celebrates the active fan. Coming up on this episode, what do we have, Richard?
Well, for our holiday vacation, we went to Newton, Massachusetts, where I am from, and we had spoken to our good friend Jimmy Pruitt, who you may have heard on our Halloween episode a few months ago. And he and I were best friends as kids, and we went around to all the old playing spots where we used to play Star Wars.
Oh.
So we went back, we reminisced about the times where I buried Jim in a big snowbank. Jimmy pushed kids off of 6-foot drops, all in the name of playing Star Wars.
Oh.
And then we also spoke to Jimmy's father, Jim, who was like a second dad to me growing up. He used to take me to see Star Wars. He used to take me and Jim to the science fiction conventions, haunted houses, everywhere. We spoke to him. I haven't seen him in probably 30 years.
Wow.
So it was good to see him once again and reminisce and go over the old times.
Then, of course, going over old times, you had to talk to your sister, Lisa.
We sure did. And we talked about our going to see Darth Vader at the local shopping mall.
Now, also on this episode, we're going to talk about Run Disney races and also the 2 Run Disney races coming up this year. Very soon, actually, in January and February. And then Richard and I actually participated in a Disney scavenger hunt.
That was fun. It was put on by City Race LA, and our friend Chris Alexander, who wrote the Star Wars Origami book, had invited us, and he had done a couple of other scavenger hunts all around Los Angeles, and this one here was being held at Disneyland. So if you're going to Disneyland for a scavenger hunt, who are you going to call?
I guess us.
The Skywalking Through Neverland team. In fact, that's what he called our team.
Yep.
Skywalking Through Neverland.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, so this was really, really fun, where we met at 8 o'clock when the park opened. We were given a big list of clues, and we were off and running.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had been to Disneyland hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
And they were asking us things that we didn't even know about. Little details about gravestones and what does this marker over here say, or how many footsteps from here to here.
And the windows of Main Street.
Things that you don't really think about. So it was really, really fun to us and very eye-opening.
Yes.
Yeah, because we had learned a whole lot more about Disneyland than we thought we already knew. And now, let's get a full recap with Chris Alexander. And then how they had this set up was that they had clues in each one of the lands. So they had a bunch of clues in Tomorrowland, Adventureland, Frontierland. Which land do you think was the hardest one to find clues?
Well, let's see. Probably Main Street.
Yeah, I was thinking Main Street.
I was thinking Toontown.
Really? No, I was thinking Toontown was easy because we breezed through that.
No, that was the last one we did, and it took us longer because we couldn't.
No.
Because there were a lot of stuff that were very high up in the signs.
We found a bunch of stuff in 15 minutes, whereas Main Street, we were there for like 45 minutes.
We were there for quite a while because we could not find Dr. Drillum. Couldn't find that sign.
But that was probably the only hard one. We Goofy's piano that was easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures that they had from Main Street, this palm thing, I don't know who spotted it. Good eagle eyes on that one, but it was up on that second floor inside the window. And then the other one, who were the brothers.
The Sherman brothers.
Yeah, and again, that was also really obscure.
And
we never did find the aerial thing.
We were told earlier that we could ask the Disney employees. That really helped. And the Disney cast members on Main Street were a really big help.
I don't think we could have done Main Street without their help.
No.
Yeah, but the one question that we could not get from Main Street was if Ariel was going to audition in an exotic location, what would she bring?
Yeah.
That made no sense to audition.
Yeah, I still don't know where that answer is. The answer, we found out later, is sunscreen. However, where that answer is, we have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think anyone got that one right.
Now you've got something to do next time you go to Disneyland. Find that answer.
Yeah, we spent, a good 30 minutes trying to find that answer. So that was a hard one.
How long did we spend inside the movie theater watching the wrong movie?
Yeah, that was another. You know what? Okay, I retract my answer. I think Main Street was the harder of the clues to find because one of the other harder ones was in this Mutascope silent film. How many pies does someone get in the face? So here we are in the Main Street silent cinema watching these movies for a good 20 minutes.
And none of them are Mutascope films.
None of them had pies in the face. And then we just had to move on until we went into the gifts shop across the street.
Candy store.
The candy store. And they had those things where you put your eyes up against and you watch them for about 30 seconds. And that was the film. It wasn't even a Disney film. It was a live action. It wasn't even a film. It was more like Viewmasters.
Okay.
Where you click each slide. And then the last slide was a guy shoving a pie in two boys' faces.
And then the reason that we found that was because we saw some other teens looking
gathering
at that
around.
one.
I never even knew those things were there.
Yeah, but then what did you do, Richard, after you looked at it?
Yeah, so once I found the answer, I yelled out, 38 faces get hit by pies.
Yeah, there was like a line behind you of city race people.
One woman actually repeated 38 and she went running off.
You know what?
A little upset later on.
I'm not really a competitive person.
You miscounted that many.
But I was competitive that day, and I was going to make sure that we were going to win this.
Absolutely.
We spent, 15 minutes trying to find an answer that they just said, apparently the answer they have is incorrect. There's multiple answers, so we're just going to give you the points for it.
Well, that one was the Peter Pan ride. That was they gave you about 5 lines of dialogue, and you've got to put them in order as to how you hear them on the ride. But they later
Mr.
told
Toad's Wild Ride?
No, Peter Pan.
It wasn't Peter Pan, but
Yes, it was Peter Pan. Yes, it was.
No, it was Pinocchio.
yeah, Pinocchio's Daring Journey.
All right, we're all wrong.
It's Pinocchio's Daring Journey. That's what it was.
See, that was the problem. You were looking in Peter Pan for the dialogue.
But as it turns out, there were 3 different soundtracks. So, depending on what soundtrack you hear, you could be right. So they gave everyone that point, and we found that out about 30 minutes after we had looked on YouTube trying to find the answer.
Trying to find a ride through.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Whose idea was that to look on YouTube?
Mine.
Good idea.
Sarah, give her points for that.
To people who post on YouTube them going through the ride. So instead of having to wait 30 minutes for the ride, we can just watch a 3-minute clip on YouTube and find the answers right there. Good
But
going.
I have to admit, I did that with that one and with the Roger Rabbit ride, and neither one of them actually were clear enough to get proper answers out of.
No, so we came up with a brilliant idea. We were running out of time at Roger Rabbit. There was a 35-minute wait, and we had to be back in 30 minutes. So I asked people who were exiting the ride, what did Jessica Rabbit say? And
I can't believe they remembered that.
Well, one woman did, yeah.
First she said, I don't know. Then she came back a minute later and said, oh, she said this.
Yeah, and it was right.
I was impressed. I wouldn't have remembered.
Yeah, and then the most embarrassing part of the day was when they asked a Star Wars question, and we all got it wrong.
Well, I guess it's
From a certain point of view.
It said learn the ways of the Force, but they teach lightsaber training. They don't teach Force training.
Yeah, so the question was, in the Jedi Academy, what did they teach you? What skill did they teach you? So we wrote lightsaber training. And, yeah.
Apparently there's a sign that says the ways of the Force or something like that.
Where do they teach that? We didn't even see the stage.
Yeah, but there's a lot of the answers are on signs, which are outside of the attractions, and it may have said ways of the Force on that sign instead of skills with a lightsaber.
Probably what it was.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
So in the end, we came in at...
We came in 12th place.
12th place out of 58 teams.
Out of 58. So now, in my thinking, that's good.
Yeah, and I'm kind of embarrassed that we got 12 instead of 1. A lot of these questions were things that we would never even think about.
Yeah.
Having
well,
visited
how
the
long
parks.
did we have? Did we go over that?
We had 3 hours to
4.
complete.
Wasn't it 4?
Was it 3 hours?
No,
We had
it
to
was
be back
actually
at
4 hours, 45
1:30.
minutes.
Yeah,
and we started basically at 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30 by the time we got
So
started.
we had a little
4
over
hours.
4 hours. Had we come in like a couple of minutes later, we would have been 13th place because time was a factor.
Yes, they did use that to break ties if you had the same amount of questions right.
Oh, that's a good... I see.
And a couple of the bonus points came in if you could take a picture with your whole group at a certain attraction. So we got a lot of those.
Those are fun. By the way, if you could, send me those pictures. I'd love to see them.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, so in the end, it was a really fun day, and thank you once again for inviting us.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was great having you two like the Park Insider experts. I would have finished somewhere around 57th if it was just me.
Oh.
And then we earned our keep.
You definitely. I would have spent the entire. I'm not leaving this theater until I see how many pies are in the face. It's 1 o'clock. I got to go check in. All right, I got one answer. Oh, we did 12. I was very proud of 12. It was a very respectable out of 58 people.
But
Yeah.
The top 10, 20%.
in the end, when
That was
you
good.
factor in funness, we came in at number 1
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
because that was a blast.
It was. I boggled my mind that we needed that 4 hours to get all those questions.
That 4 hours flew by.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the team that won, who answered every question correctly, and there was just 2 of them, I wonder if they just split up and then met back later.
Ooh, that would have been cheap.
Wow.
Oh,
Which is cheating.
investigation.
11 other teams in front of us did that, so we actually were the only ones that did it correctly, and we came in first place.
There you go.
So over our Christmas vacation, Sarah and I went to Newton, Massachusetts to see my family and some old friends, one of which was Jimmy Pruitt. And we visited lots of locations where we used to play Star Wars when we were a kid. So I'm hoping it's as fun for you as it was for us. So here we are in Newtonville, Massachusetts, where we just picked up my best friend from childhood, Jimmy Pruitt.
Hey, how's it going?
And you had this idea when we were doing our Halloween episode in October that when I come here with Sarah in December, we can take a trip around Newtonville and explore all of our old Star Wars sites.
And I think Newton was kind of an ideal place to live during Star Wars because there were so many kind of like parallel things that made it seem like that we lived in the Star Wars universe.
Like what?
Well, our school looked like a spaceship. And maybe as we're driving around, we can expand on.
All right, so now what we're going to do now is we're going to trespass into my old house on Brooks Ave. So we're going to walk around and talk about how we played, what we've done, and the story about how you pushed poor Billy Mazzetti off the edge of the driveway.
Had to be done.
Oh, you know what? And before we go on, we have something here for you.
Nice.
Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough. But your uncle wouldn't allow it. That is for you.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Wow, thanks. I was
Go ahead and open
trying to
it.
get you something, but what can I get the guy who has everything?
More?
Oh, what I asked for. Thank you, sir.
Well, Santa was listening. Your own official Skywalking Through Neverland
Wow,
t-shirt.
Thanks.
One of us. One of us.
I always liked your house because it was kind of in the colonial style, I almost want to say. It seems like this house is at least 100 years old.
Oh, I'm sure it's more than that.
Older than that, possibly.
Yeah. And still, it's the only house on the whole block that has not had an update since I left in
That's
1981. And I believe they may have changed the light bulbs.
Okay.
On the front lawn is where we built our very, very large snow forts
Yeah.
during the blizzard of 1978. So, Jim, remember the time when we had built a huge snow fort? The drifts were at least 30 feet tall. And we had just seen the trailer for The Empire Strikes Back, so we knew that
There was gonna be a
snow planet.
Yeah.
So we built this big, giant fort.
This was after the blizzard of 78. There was about 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, everywhere. 3 feet of snow a day. And we built a huge snow fort right over here on my front lawn.
Okay.
And you were down below digging a tunnel.
Right.
And you said, Rich, no matter what you do, do not jump up and down, or the whole thing will come right down.
Okay.
So what does Rich do?
So I said, that sounds like a dare. So I jumped up and down. How many seconds do you think it was until the whole thing came crashing down?
1.2.
Yeah, I think a little less than that. It came right down on top of Jim, and he was buried.
Oh, no.
Now, to be fair,
Yeah.
I had to laugh for about 35 minutes.
Okay.
I went in for lunch.
Uh-huh.
When I came back out,
Yeah.
you were still buried underneath
Really?
us.
Oh,
wow.
poor Jim.
Jim was always one of these characters that just said, nah, whatever.
So you'd already had a sandwich. And there I am.
Well, not only did
Carbon froze.
I had a sandwich, but I also watched an episode of I Love Lucy.
And I came out and you were still buried underneath there. But the way I saw it,
Yeah.
you know, Luke and Han were in the snow. They
Okay.
were surviving.
Yep.
And we were always Luke and Han. I was Luke, you were always Han, because you had the dark hair.
Sure.
So I thought, well,
Jim is Han Solo. Of course he's going to survive underneath there. So
You don't even need a tauntaun.
That is good to hear that I was that rugged and ready to go. It must have been all my years growing up in Brighton and Alston before I met you that made me tough to the streets. Wait a minute, they didn't have snow back then.
I think we were playing Star Wars, so you were in the mindset of being Han Solo, and you knew Han would not complain about being underneath 30 pounds of snow per square inch, so
Sure.
therefore you were not going to.
Yeah, I don't know what my normally wouldn't a kid just like run out of there as quickly as possible,
Crying and
run
screaming
into the
and going
house?
back home and crying to his mom that he was attacked by a wampa.
I have no explanation as to why I would have stayed in there. Makes no sense.
I think you were still in the mindset of being Han Solo, and Han was a tough guy. The next door neighbor, Donna Quinn, this is back in 1978. She had a Super 8 camera,
Wow.
and she took footage of us playing in the snow.
Wow.
And I recall us acting out scenes from Star Wars in
Okay.
the snow, and pretty much us just shooting and falling down like stormtroopers.
So now we have to get really famous so that we can get that film footage to be surfaced.
And my sister Lisa had asked her numerous times, "Oh, do you have that footage?" And she kept saying, "Oh yeah, you have to look for it." Now's the time to look for it.
That's
And
awesome.
going,
There is no sidewalk here.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to say. There is no sidewalk. Everyone
Just
else
in front of this
in the
house.
state has got a sidewalk, but 40 years later, still no sidewalk. I think at this point they just said, "Screw it."
So we had our Star Wars club
Yeah.
in the thick of it. I hope I don't step in something that's thick. It's very. They got to mow their lawn here.
All right, look right
I
over.
don't know what
Don't-
I'm stepping on here.
Don't step on that. And in our Star Wars club,
Now, where did you meet for your Star Wars club? Here, right?
we'd meet over here, over Jim's house, whoever's mom would let us in, and we had different levels. We had the Darth Vader was the top because we figured Darth Vader was the boss of everything.
Right.
We didn't really understand hierarchy, didn't know who the Emperor was. We heard them mention him once, and the next step below was Grand Moff Tarkin. So everyone always vied for the Grand Moff Tarkin position.
I didn't know it was that detailed. But
Oh,
if,
it was
if
very
you say
structured.
so. All I knew was that I could be fired. at any given moment. And as a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, I didn't.
Who could be fired? Like, by whom would you be fired? Richard?
I think who was the fan club president at the time.
And who was usually the fan club president?
Jim.
Rich.
Yeah. I would figure.
And one wrong move, and you were fired. Now, I don't remember what the one wrong move was.
What's the penalty?
The penalty? You're out.
I think if I
For how long?
I would start walking away from certain situations. And then I would hear Rich about 30 feet away, Jim, if you keep walking, you're fired. It was all in good fun.
So you must have heard that somewhere.
You know, we played with a little boy named Donald Trump.
Really?
I think that's where he got it from. I'm just kidding about that part. Yeah, you know what? I think.
But you took it to, in your mind, the Star Wars Club had executive powers and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, we had executive washrooms, we had company cars, and that's why you did not want to be ousted from the fan club, because you'd be banished at school. We would tell everyone this person was fired. And do you recall what you had to do to get fired?
Disagree with Rich.
Well, that was the primary reason. But
You know what? That's still in effect today.
well, yeah, some things never change. But there was one Star Wars ripoff. To this day, I still have not said the full name of this.
Okay.
And my friend Dave Scale always has pride in talking about this left and right and up and down and talking about how much he loved it. But the initials were BSG.
That would be a trigger to get fired. You could not reference Battlestar Galactica.
Really? That's a 35. It's the first time I ever heard you say it in 35. You know what? No.
Do you want to push me off?
Bury you?
You're very close to that, Jim. You're very close to that. But remember when we went to Camp Macy?
Okay.
In the 6th grade, and we got into this argument about something, and you wanted to really push the lightsaber into my side.
All right.
So you
Sounds
just
like me.
you just you stood defiantly and you yelled out, "Battle, blah 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 blah."
And you're talking to me again. It's amazing.
How many years did it take?
Statute of limitations.
That was back in 1981.
Yeah.
And I saw you next in 2005. You do the math. But you know what? That's in the past now. Now let's come on over here to another famous site in our Star Wars days. Wow. Okay, we are still trespassing in someone's yard. Okay, let's be really quiet. Hope they never hear this.
Hope they're at work.
Now over here where I'm standing in my old backyard is where we had our neighbors, the Liebermans, built this really cool playhouse for us. Had a door, it had a couple of windows.
Nice.
And we would often come in here for our Star Wars meetings.
Okay.
And then one night, if you look behind us, through those bushes, a bunch of punks came charging through. We were playing hide and seek. You and I were squatting down right over here.
Okay.
We turned around and we see these 3 big kids jumping through these hedges here.
All right.
And we took off.
Okay.
We took off, and the next morning, the playhouse was tipped up on its side.
Really?
And my Huffy bike was stolen.
Whoa.
Oh,
How
that was
sad.
devastating.
Oh.
That was not a...
How much older were they than you?
They were probably
estimate?
13, 14. I'm not going to say names, but I'd love to say names. I know exactly who it was. But I'm not going to name names. But I will get my revenge. All right, and then a cut to a couple of years later, right in the back of the back here. What do you call those big spools? You find the city workers tying big cables. You would
Wire
get
spools?
big wire spools.
That people use as desks and stuff like that.
Yeah, college students will often use them as desks. And I put 2 of those spools together with another little playhouse in the middle, so it formed a TIE fighter.
Nice.
And it was nice for about a day.
Okay.
And then the same neighborhood hooligans, I saw tearing the thing apart.
These weren't the same hooligans that we were attacked one time out right in front of your house. I was wearing one of those Iron-On Star Wars shirts. The kid was like, "What are you looking at? What are you looking at?" That whole thing. And then came over to my Iron-On Star Wars t-shirt, started like fleck by fleck, started to rip off the image of R2D2 and C-3PO, whoever was on the T-shirt image. And for me, that was the most bullied I had ever gotten.
Now, in 2010, Newton was considered the second safest place to live in America.
It was, yeah.
But back in 1978, not so much in this neighborhood. Now, over here at this tree, when I see this tree, you know what I think of? Right over here. Sarah, Jiminy Cricket from Once Upon a Time,
Yes.
played by Raphael Sbarge.
Right.
He was friends with our downstairs neighbors.
Really?
Yeah, and he and I were playing on a swing out here.
Your neighbor or Jiminy Cricket? and
me and Raphael Sbarge, who played Jiminy Cricket. We're out here playing on the swing, and got on the swing. He got a big running head start, and took a header right off.
He what?
He took a header right off the swing.
Oh, like fell headfirst into the ground?
Yeah, and I felt really bad. And once again, it took me about 25 minutes to stop laughing. When I was a kid, when people fell, I considered it really funny. and someday I'll meet him at a convention, or I'll meet him somewhere, and all I want to say is I'm sorry. I'm sorry for laughing. He'll have no idea what I'm talking about. But I just want to say that I'm sorry. Accept it or not, at least I just want to get that out there.
You are a fan of people falling. 'Cause I think I told you one time of a story with my dad when he fell. And look at you, you're going to pieces here. This is great.
You guys were camping.
Yeah. You might not survive this story. Should we move on?
And they were walking up the side of a very leafy hill.
Okay, it is funny. It is funny. I'm thinking about it now, and it was very funny. We decided to go camping up in New Hampshire one weekend, and it was raining. So you don't want to go camping when it's raining. So everything was just going against us. I think it stopped raining. We pull over to the side of the road. There's one of those public campsites with a grill and stuff. My dad sets everything up. It starts raining again. I'm like, forget this. I go back into the car. The car is positioned so that I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm just looking at him gather up all the camping equipment. He had the little stove and the cloth and the plates and stuff like that, and he's got everything. And
you didn't help him?
I didn't help him. I was very mean, in a bad mood or something. And I saw him do a total Fred Flintstone, where he was carrying stuff and he couldn't see his footing, and he went feet overhead.
The way his dad told it,
Okay.
Jim spent 15 minutes in the car.
Nice.
Jim spent 15 minutes in the car laughing, and after that 15 minutes... And after that 15 minutes, then he comes to say, Dad, need your help?
See, when you're raised to get away with a lot, it can come back to haunt the parent who actually let somebody get away with a lot.
Oh, man. I love your dad. He was a second dad. God love him.
Are we going to swing by the Oakley Spa?
Let's swing by the outside of the Oakley Spa.
All right. Because for me, that was like the cantina.
Yeah,
you would
much
never
so.
find a richer
more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Hey there. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah, you having a good New Year?
What you doing?
Well, we're doing a podcast for Skywalking Through Neverland.
Yeah.
Neverland.
Skywalking Through Neverland. It's a Star Wars Disney podcast.
Oh.
And we used to live here.
Back in the late 70s.
And
We lived here then.
Did you?
what?
Yeah, we lived here then in the late 70s. We moved in 1978.
What?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
McKay.
Oh, I remember you.
I sort of remember your face, but I don't know who you are.
Richard Woloski. Yes.
Woloski.
Yes.
I know you, but I gotta think. Which house were you in?
I lived right
That
over here, the
one.
brick house.
That one.
This
Yeah, I
one
know,
right
that's
over here, the
great.
one that we're trespassing through.
Yeah. Not this one.
Yeah, this one over here. And you were a priest, minister, rabbi. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, he was not. He's not a priest.
I'm sorry.
But we do go to church.
That's what I meant to say. You guys go to
You must
church.
have seen us on Sunday mornings.
Yeah,
So you're doing a little podcast, checking things out.
yeah, going back and reminiscing about the old stories about how we grew up and the fun stories that happened.
Great.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah. But did you also grow up here?
I didn't.
No.
I'm his wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi.
I lived a couple
She's
of
from
streets
Texas.
over, and we went to grammar school together. And
So what's
this
your
was
name?
the location, Jim Pruitt.
No, I don't know that
Yeah.
name.
Where'd you grow up, Jim?
I lived on Eddy Street.
On Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if you saw
went to Horace Mann.
circa 1978, you'd remember who we were.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
kids with the
Along with that.
lightsabers
Yeah.
outside.
Running around
Oh, of
playing-
course. Okay.
Yeah, do you recall us running through your backyard when we were kids playing Star
yeah,
Wars?
that was just fine. Yeah, we still
have
have.
it all on tape.
You know, after about 30 some odd years, I just want to say I'm sorry for running over your flowers.
You know, we were happy to have you in our yard. Didn't matter.
Oh.
Glad to be in the neighborhood.
Oh.
That's what it's for. That's what a neighborhood's for.
Yeah, so we're going over here reminiscing with about the old locations and apologizing to neighbors.
Great.
That was cool.
Because as a kid, we just didn't know boundaries. We didn't know
what the neighborhood was for.
territories, so we just ran through everyone's yard, taking people's mail.
No problem. Oh, no, that would be a problem.
Yeah. You probably didn't pay a bill from 1978 to Edison.
Ah, yeah, well, I guess it's forgiven and forgotten.
Many ways. Well, great to see you guys.
Yeah, you too.
A
Yeah.
little drive here.
Would you mind if we took a picture with you all?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Are we going to be on the podcast?
You are now.
Oh, wait a minute. He said he'll do something with my hair.
Wait, 1, 2, and 3. There we go.
There you go.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Good to
thank you
see
very
you.
much.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice chance to run into you.
Yeah. Tell the kids we said hello. All right, so now we're gonna take a page out of The Making of The Empire Strikes Back, when they wanted to shoot the Hoth scenes, but it was so cold outside, they had to set up the cameras inside of the hotel and shot Mark Hamill as he was running around in the snow. And they were inside because the cameras kept freezing up. So we're gonna do the same thing because it is, how cold is it outside? I'm gonna guess like 3 degrees.
Well, that says 33.
33 degrees.
33 degrees outside, and I'm not used to 33 degree weather. For me, cold is 70. So we're gonna do this next couple of stories from inside the minivan studio. Oh, you know what? Let's go to the cantina. Let's go to the Newtonville Cantina.
Nice.
Right up over here.
This is where the people would play their scratch cards and their cigarettes. We didn't know what all that stuff was.
No, this is just where we got our Star Wars cards, Star Wars comics, Star Wars magazines. It was our mecca for Star Wars goodness. So this is where I first got Star Wars cards. When they first released them, they didn't have much of anything. Nothing, no toys or magazines or anything out.
That's right.
So when they had Star Wars cards finally at the corner store,
Yep.
we just went ballistic. And at a whopping price of 15 cents a pack, I would do chores and every chore was going to cost 15 cents. Not only did they have the Star Wars cards, but they always had the Star Wars comic books. They always had the Star Wars monthly posters. And for the longest time, they had a copy of the Steve Martin album.
Which, what?
But this was kind of a hangout spot. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get the cards and then you sit out here and open them up. I remember we also used to collect the Charlie's Angels. That was before
Star Wars. And sitting out in the trash was a Star Wars carton that all the Star Wars boxes of cards came in.
Yeah.
And it confused me why anyone would throw away anything with Star Wars on it. So I grabbed it, I brought it back in, and this was outside the trash. Oh yeah, we don't want it. You don't want it? Can I have it? Yeah, sure. And I still have that Star Wars box sitting in my Star Wars room at home.
Oh.
And it's still in mint condition, except for that earthquake of 1994 in Los Angeles. That was like the only thing to get ruined. Yeah, I can't believe of all things, this got ruined. Of course, many people lost their homes and cars and kids, but I lost my Star Wars box.
There's also a laundromat. Later in life, when I was in my 20s, my friend Max and I went into the laundromat and we took rides inside the dryers. So
Wow. Really?
yeah, you're trying to get your kicks in Newton suburbs. You gotta get a little creative.
What'd you learn from that experience?
I learned that I could fit into a dryer.
Oh, so not only were you in the dryer, but you actually turned it on.
Yeah.
So now you know what an earthquake feels like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay.
Is it recording?
Yes.
Okay, so I think the temperature has dropped another 15 degrees. So it's now about 28 degrees. So here we are at Horace Mann School, where we spent the formative years of our life.
There we go.
Now I know most kids got in trouble for the regular stuff, or mouthing off to the teachers, or not doing their homework.
Yes.
We got in trouble a lot. And it was
I
always,
thought I was the only one. You got in trouble?
got in trouble a lot because I would never do my work. I would always draw Star Wars pictures. I always write Star Wars stories, and everything had to be based around Star Wars.
Okay.
And so after a while, Mr. Height and Mrs. Patterson
Yep.
just sent me out of the office until I could get my head on straight.
They probably had a special meeting. Those kids, Jim and Rich, we just got to nip this whole Star Wars thing in the bud, because what could it lead to? What could it possibly lead to?
I know back then we were saying, we'll be podcasting about this. Watch what you say. Now, remember when Mrs. Patterson had designed Star Wars work for us?
Really?
Yeah, because we would not just focus on anything else. So she would design Star Wars word problems.
Okay.
Based around money.
Right.
But it was I appreciate her attempt, but it was kind of not all there. Like, for instance, she would say, Jim and Rich went to a yard sale and bought SW cards. They cost 10 cents and they had a quarter. How much change would they get back?
Okay.
So it's like, man, no, not there yet.
Right.
Had they said, Rich and Jim flew into the Death Star in their X-Wing fighters, and they had a squadron of 20, and 17 got destroyed. How many X-Wings are left? It's like, duh, there's 3. Had she thought it through, we'd be much smarter than we are right now.
So we were that hardcore that they had to
Yes.
change the whole curriculum around just to keep our attention up.
Everyone was getting it, but us.
Right. Do you remember our music teacher, Mrs. Lemon?
Mrs. Lemon, yeah. She was a very nice woman until it came to your birthday. And what kind of abuse would she enforce on us on our birthdays?
A happy birthday song
Yes.
to the person, embarrassing the person.
We had to be in front. We had to stand in front of the classroom as everyone sang his happy birthday, and then they would have a second chorus. How old are you now? How old? Then we had to sing a solo. I am 6 years old. I am 6 years old. Terrifying. So I would never tell her my birthday, but some loudmouth would always say, "Hey, Mrs. Lemon, today's Richard's birthday." No, it's not. Yes, it is. Oh, that was. But after that abuse, you would get a peanut cluster. I remember the librarian, Mrs. Alden.
We had a library?
We did have a.
That's why Star Wars and you being into Star Wars so much was so good for me, because I was like, reading? Because you actually got into the book part of it. And I really attribute Star Wars to the fact that I wound up learning how to read. And it's I owe you one, because I don't think I would have.
And I like Mrs. Alden because I would call her Mrs. Alderon. And she wouldn't say boo about it.
Okay.
She accepted it.
Nice.
I checked out the little Star Wars Marvel adaptation,
Okay.
little digest version,
Yep.
back in 1979.
Okay.
I still have it.
Okay.
What are the penalties
I
For an
never knew we had a
overdue-
library.
for an overdue library book that's 35 years old?
This is where it originally happened. We were in plays together. We were in The Wizard of Oz and The Music Man and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
In The Wizard of Oz, you were,
I was the Cowardly Lion.
and I was Uncle Ben. I would only respond to the teachers when they called me Uncle Owen. They called me Uncle. What was it? Uncle Ben? Not Uncle Ben. Uncle Henry.
Uncle Henry.
Yeah, I was the only kid in the whole play to have an understudy. They didn't trust me to show up for play night.
Wow.
So they had an understudy, and I showed up in a Jawa t-shirt.
I do remember when we had
I
our.
wasn't trying to be funny.
We did have a field trip to see the Boston Pops. And,
Yes, I remember
and
that.
John Williams was going to be there. So
Oh my goodness.
I don't remember this, but another classmate of ours who I ran into recently said that that's all you could talk about was the fact that you were going to meet John Williams, and we had our field trip to go to the Boston Symphony Hall. And a lot of other hijinks went down there, which, I'll spare everybody.
Now he was there, but we didn't ever get a chance to meet him.
Oh, okay.
I remember we got into an elevator and someone said, "Wasn't that John Williams standing right there?"
Okay.
What?
What?
And Mrs. Patterson would not let us go back down.
I hate that.
Yeah. Like, you know how much this means to me.
Exactly.
I think I may have called her some profanity-laced words.
Especially if you were hyping it.
Yeah, exactly.
For the weeks coming up to it and stuff like that.
Now, this is kind of a sore subject.
Yeah.
The Symphony Hall.
Yeah.
And it was, you know where I'm going with this.
I think so.
I believe it was March.
Okay.
And John Williams was conducting the Boston Pops, and he was going to debut some of his scores from The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
And not only was he going to debut some scores, R2 and 3PO were also going to be there to conduct. And you went.
Did I?
You went to this.
Uh-oh.
And the next day, I said, "Hey, Jim, did you see R2 and 3PO at the Boston Pops last night?"
That was on TV, right?
TV. It had to have been. I wasn't actually there.
What?
I wasn't actually
You told me you were there.
It was probably a lie. I don't remember being there.
33 years later, the truth is coming out. Are you serious? You weren't there? You told me that you were there. You told me that your dad took you. And I believed you because your dad took you everywhere.
Okay.
And I was livid. I'm sorry to say, but a small piece of me hated you up until this very moment.
Okay. Sorry about that. I always wanted to impress you. And I think I went too far that time.
Yeah, you went a little too far that time.
I had an active imagination.
But you know what? I'm kind of glad now.
Okay.
Because I could never put together, how could you go to this?
Right. What a bastard I was.
And
Damn.
not tell me. All right, you know what? That's some good podcasting right there.
Indeed.
So I'm not sure if I had mentioned this to you before. I think I did.
Yeah.
I'm writing a Star Wars memoir book.
Yes.
And a chapter is devoted to that time in our life where my best friend Jimmy went to the Boston Pops and didn't invite me. And I had a friend read this, and my friend Sam he doesn't have very positive things to say about you.
Okay.
Rich, how could he go and not invite you? R2, 3PO, and John Williams, the trifecta, and he didn't invite you. It was very therapeutic to write all this out. And it helped me work through it.
Okay.
But still, there's some people in Los Angeles.
I was probably trying to get you back for firing me like 5 times.
Well, you know what? It worked, okay?
All right.
Let's move beyond that. Whew. So, just to let you know, if you ever come to Los Angeles, there's some people there who are very upset with you.
All around the world, I'm sure.
Over here to our left is the brook.
Yeah.
Now, how many stories do we have about the brook?
Tons.
Now, this is a brook that goes all over Newton.
It handles the overflow from the Charles River so that the Charles doesn't overflow.
But as a kid, this was the greatest place to play ever. Over here, here's the bridge that went over the brook. And we would play on here for hours. And one of the games we used to like to play was, I don't know what name we had for it, but one of us would be underneath the bridge and we would be Darth Vader. And we would have control about who would go over this bridge. And
that's awesome.
Each time I would go over, I would do like little tiny footsteps, and Jim would try to guess what character I was.
Well, fun.
And we'd take turns, and
somebody fell.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was about to go over when a big group of teenagers came walking over. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna let them pass because they're teenagers and they have the right of way. And they go, stop. And Jim goes underneath the bridge. In his best Darth Vader voice, he says, "Who's going over my bridge?" Because that's what you'd say when you didn't know who it was.
Okay.
And his kids are like, "Did you hear that too?"
Uh-oh. Somebody's ass is about to get kicked.
And he would keep on yelling, "Who's going over my bridge?" Until they finally went around the post to underneath. All I heard was, "Who's going over my?"
Oh, and it cut off.
The next thing I heard was splash.
Oh no!
Nice.
So after being out in the bitter cold for an hour podcasting, we decided to go in the warmth of Jimmy's father's.
Let's not gloss over how cold it really was.
Yeah.
I think it hit a high of 28 degrees.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was cold. And we had fun reminiscing with him because, like I had said before, I hadn't seen him, close to 30 years.
Just reminiscing.
Reminiscing about
Just
the old
reminiscing.
days.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this already started?
Yes. Oh, we started 20 minutes ago.
Oh, jeez.
So when you told us your PIN number,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you
got
very
it.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we are now here talking to Jim's father, Jim. And we're going to be talking a little bit about when Jim and I grew up and the stories that he remembers. Now, you were one of the only parents of my friends who were not aggravated that I had this Star Wars obsession and that Jim had the Star Wars obsession. Every other friend's parents were all like, oh, would you guys stop talking about that? But you were the only one to jump in on it. So what stories do you remember from when we were kids?
Well, I remember Richard had a very fond appreciation of Star Wars movies, as did his my son Jim. And I remember taking him to the movie several times.
Do you remember anything in particular that we did? Like the conventions that we had gone to?
People would dress up in the Wookiee. Is it a Wookiee? The Wookiee and, the different Star Wars characters that they had. They were very excited to go. I don't know if they slept the night before knowing they were going. But that would be conjecture on my part, I guess.
Do you remember the times when we would stay over at your place playing with action figures, and 2 or 3 in the morning you'd get up to do something, and we'd still be playing?
This is true. They would play to the wee hours of the morning. They had every conceivable Star Wars character you could get, the figurines, whatever you want to call them. Action figures. I'm sorry, they weren't figurines. Action figures. We would go in search of ones that they didn't have yet, or the newest ones that were coming out. We had to go to the store and try to, acquire these, and they were scarce. I mean, when they first, we didn't know what stores actually would carry them, and
we actually just came from an area where there used to be a toy store called Mr. Biggs on Moody Street.
I remember Mr. Biggs quite well, and they had it was like being in a candy shop for somebody who had a sweet tooth. All these toys that were in there, and then of course the Star Wars action figures were there. They were pretty scarce, and he would sometimes have them. He would get them in, and sometimes he would give us some heads up as to when the next shipment would come in, and so we'd be back down there at a price.
This guy would charge.
Yeah, these
no
things were not
what.
cheap. They were not cheap. You're right. They were at a price. He's right. They were. Richard's right.
Greatest memories I have of with you guys and action figures, when the second wave of Kenner action figures came out. It was a Friday night, and I was roller skating with my sister and some friends, and I saw Jimmy coming through the door. He didn't pay to get in, like most people had to. And I was going around and around, and he wasn't hard to miss because he's jumping, Reg! I look over, and he's holding Greedo, the new Greedo action figure. Oh. I'm pretty sure I knocked down 4 or 5 little children because Jim was holding the Ark of the Covenant in his hand. He was holding the new Greedo figure we were all waiting for, and you guys had just gone to Toys R Us, and Jim had gotten Greedo and Walrus Man and Hammerhead, and you guys had brought me a Greedo, and I was so touched.
Oh. We had actually picked this up for you.
Yes, you did. You picked up an action figure.
So we get this at Toys R Us. So they must have just had a fresh shipment in, and
because we used to go there almost every night waiting for these new figures.
Right.
And you guys just hit at the right time.
Lucked in at the right time.
Yeah,
and picked it up.
Yeah, and then the manager coming over to Jim saying, "Excuse me, sir, you've got to pay." Jim didn't give him the time of day.
It took me a long time to realize that you had to pay money for things. Caused some problems.
And you walked in right after him. I think they were so busy chasing Jim that you just walked in right after him. And he's trying to get him to pay, or who's your dad? And we were opening up the action figures and playing, and all these other kids came around us. Where did you get that? Oh, can I play too? Nope, these are our action figures. Go get your own.
Yeah.
All I want to do is play with my Greedo action figure. Over at Wallex. Is Wallex still there?
Wallex. No, they're not there anymore. No.
Do you remember the conventions, the comic book conventions,
right?
Where you would bring the two of us and we would work selling the comics, and I would always play the role of excited customer. So I would come on over. Wow, you guys have all this stuff? Wow, over at table 12A, row number 2. This stuff is exciting. X-Men number 52.
Yeah. This is true. This is true.
Why would you play that role?
Because you're trying to drum up business.
Drum up business.
So I would be the one to go, wow, look at all these new exciting things happening over here.
Because you guys had a table?
Yeah,
Jim,
back in the day.
They went from just convention goers to comic book dealers.
Oh, okay.
Back then, you could get a table for $20.
Yeah, this is correct. For $20, you could rent a table, and we had, all different kinds of comic books and
late 70s, something like this.
Yeah, and we would line them up, and then Richard would be the one who would be the town crier, exactly, and he'd be bringing, or he'd be walking around with a certain kind of comic, and then someone would say, "Oh, where'd you get that?" "Oh, you got to go down there."
Jim kind of made a transition from being just a Star Wars collector into collecting comics.
Right.
And he was very big into the X-Men. And
As much
as I wanted to get into that, it wasn't the Superman and Batman and Spider-Man with the bright colored costumes. These were darker characters with more personal issues. And I just couldn't hang with that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I always thought of Jim as being much more mature than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because he liked Alfred Hitchcock. He liked everything else that the kids weren't really into. It was just too sophisticated. Woody Allen. And then you were into X-Men. I couldn't keep up.
I have to admit, for the X-Men, I wasn't actually reading the comic books at the time. I'm sorry, Dad, for this, because you invested all this money into it. I just liked it for the covers, the cover art.
The cover art.
I collected it for the cover art. So I apologize to the writers of all those.
And Jimmy was a shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
Someone would come on over and say, I can get the same comic down the hall for $10 less. And Jimmy would say, so go. Go get it over there.
For $10 less.
I like your chutzpah, kid. Let me buy that from you. I don't think that happened.
No, it did. I remember vividly. Maybe it wasn't $10, but Jim knew that he could go to another show and sell it for the price that was on the sticker.
Right.
So he kind of had the future in mind.
Right. He did. He didn't. We didn't lose much money with him being the sales.
Yeah.
No. Jimmy was he would go around to at the end of the convention just with an armful of stuff. He'd come back with nothing. He would have sold everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I don't know. He would go and do sales away from the table.
One of the things that we did when we walked around the...
It's amazing considering I couldn't add. Just joking.
So we would also walk around, and I'd take a comic and throw it on the floor and tell the guy, I'm sorry, you dropped this. And the guy would pick it up, and Jim would say, that's $5, please.
Nice.
Does that work?
No. So no, it never worked, but it was a fun scam. So after you guys had run through the course of comic books, then you went on to baseball cards.
Baseball cards came in.
That's right.
Yeah, that was kind of a sad time for me because you were going more away from Star Wars and comics to more of the baseball cards.
Yeah.
Well, I was, at some point I was like 14 years old, and I was like, I'd be in my room playing with my Star Wars toys, and I'd be like, shouldn't I be starting to feel a little self-conscious about this? I'm going to be 15 next year, and I'm still playing with those.
Meanwhile, I'm... Come on, Jim, get your snow speeder. Let's go. Self-conscious, nothing. Well, then fine. Give me all your action figures.
Robbie Lawrence beat you to the punch, unfortunately. So. Whoa.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Rich isn't talking to me for a while.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. One of the worst business decisions I've ever made in my whole life, when I was 10 years old, the original Luke Skywalker action figure came with a telescoping lightsaber.
Okay.
And after that came in the early bird set, but then when they started releasing them on the cards, it didn't have the telescoping anymore. So if you had the telescoping lightsaber, that was worth a lot of money. Now,
bucks.
Back then, it was rare. So if you had one, it's like you had something of the original release.
Right.
And I traded my telescoping lightsaber to Jim for a sticker.
Oh.
And
wow.
So years later, when I find out how rare these are, I began to realize, wait a minute, Jim, I wonder if he still has that. So once we were Facebooking, I said, Jim, do you still have my telescoping Luke Skywalker yellow lightsaber? And Jim, what did you say?
No. I think Robbie Lawrence wound up getting it in a blockbuster Star Wars action figure deal that went down. Somewhere in 83, 84.
Wow.
And my Luke Skywalker lightsaber, telescoping yellow lightsaber.
I mean, that's one scenario. Another scenario could be I had it and it got bent and I was like, this is broken. And I probably threw it away.
I don't want to hear that. Stick with the Robbie Lawrence story.
I know, right?
The whole day he's been doing these jabs at me.
Now, who is Robbie Lawrence? I forgot who that was.
He was a kid who lived on Roberts.
Was he in that same neighborhood with you?
Street over from me.
Oh.
He went to Horace Mann.
And he was also a big Star Wars collector, too.
Oh, okay.
I think he got more into it the older he got, because he'd come over to me and say, hey, do you have the twin pod cloud car? Do you have this? Do you have that? And if I had known then he had my Luke Skywalker yellow telescoping lightsaber, I would have said, hey, Robbie, let's hang out after school. Let's see what you're missing when I leave. And much to my dismay, I think Robbie's moved on with his life and he's no longer. Because if I know where he is, believe me, I'm going to hunt down my Luke Skywalker telescoping yellow lightsaber.
Which now goes for about $1,000, right? Or something like that.
I was wondering if you ever tried to contact him through way of Facebook. Have you ever thought
When
of
Jim told
doing
me that, I quickly Facebooked him, but there's like 5,300 Robbie Lawrences in the United States alone.
Tried. It's hard on Facebook.
Yeah.
Sorry,
is.
Rich.
It is. How about Googling the same thing happens?
What if I Google Robbie Lawrence, Luke Skywalker, yellow telescoping lightsaber? What'll come up? Well, now I just got a fear he's going to say, no, Jim broke that back in 83.
I wouldn't mention the item yet until you know who it is.
Yeah, exactly. Become friends with them.
But I very much regret, aside from your loss, the fact that I actually tossed away half my collection. Because now, what am I doing, of course, as somebody in their mid-40s, going back, paying top money to try to replace everything.
So how far have you gotten?
I have a snow speeder. I have a couple of things. I have about 30 action figures with their guns. And,
Wow.
Uncarded?
No. in a carrying case.
Okay.
Star Wars carrying case.
Well, I think one of the real questions, because we heard a story earlier today, Richard thinks that Jimmy went to see John Williams' concert, Boston Pops, with R2-D2 and C-3PO without asking Richard.
Yeah, no. I'm afraid I got caught in a little fib. It might have started out as a fib, but it kind of blew up, I guess, because now it's in Richard's memoirs.
For over 30 years, I had a grudge.
Jim. I do not recall that, actually.
30 years.
30 years. Wow, Jim.
Well, he had, and I should have caught on to this, because if you took him anywhere, you always took me along, and I appreciate that. Yeah. I was so livid that, what, you left me out of that? But I should have known back then.
No,
that
I don't recall.
You would have at least said because I know we always did the one-upsman thing, but you would have said, let's bring Rich. I think he's got a small interest in Star Wars.
That's right. That's right.
Wow, Jim.
It's a real Spanish Inquisition.
But after 33 years of holding that grudge, it's finally over, so we can move on with our lives.
I'll never tell another lie regarding.
All right, on that note, Jim, thank you once again for
welcome.
reminiscing with us. It was a lot of fun, and
Thank you.
you were a very good sport about everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're such a good sport. Love you, Dad.
You put up with us, and you always fit into our Star Wars obsession.
Yeah,
And now look where we are now.
that's right. See, now you're grown men, and still following Star Wars. So
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with that.
And most will be for the next evolved eternity, I believe.
And-
Yeah,
That's
that
the
sounds
way
about right.
things are working out.
And you guys got to be the first wave of the Star Wars movie goers and viewers. And these
We were
young-
the number one fans. you
Number
should
one
say.
fan.
First generation fans.
Yes.
first generation
Yeah.
fans.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.
Anyone has to. Oh, okay, go ahead. You guys do what you.
I want to use the restroom. Yeah. So now Jim is gonna go use the restroom. You know what? Let's follow him in, okay? Then finally we finished our tour by talking to my sister Lisa. She had the great idea of talking about seeing Darth Vader at the local shopping mall. This is back when Darth Vader would make personal appearances at department stores, saying hello to the kids and selling more Star Wars toys.
That must have been super exciting as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because now with the 501st, you can see Darth Vader anywhere and everywhere.
And stormtroopers and Boba Fett. And, yeah.
Back then, few and far between. And as a side note, there was another Darth Vader opportunity in 1979, I believe, when I saw an ad at Child's World in Natick. It said that you can get an appearance by Darth Vader on Christmas morning. That not only will he make an appearance at your house, but he'll also help you clean up the Christmas mess.
What?
Was very, very odd, and I asked my mom to read it again for me, just in case I was missing something. And Darth Vader will come over and he'll help you clean up the Christmas wrapping paper, do the dishes, bake the turkey. And I don't think my mom wanted me to see Darth Vader kind of like Alice from Brady Bunch, little apron on,
Right.
helmet all up in a bun. It just wouldn't have been the image that I should be then going to see The Empire Strikes Back, because that was coming out in a few months after that. So, Mom, thank you very much for denying me that opportunity of seeing Darth Vader as the housemaid. And we were just sitting here talking about going to see Darth Vader over at Grover Cronin's in Boston.
No, Jordan Marsh.
We saw Darth Vader and Jordan Marsh in Boston.
Correct. I remember I was wearing a red jacket. Probably have a picture of me. I remember that we were early.
Uh-huh.
I remember I was, 10?
This was in 77, so you would have been...
I was 10.
Okay, there you go.
And what I do remember is him walking by us,
Uh-huh.
going to his
Darth Vader?
destination. Yes.
Darth Vader walked by you.
Now, this was
And-
in the very infancy of the Star Wars boom, so we hadn't had a huge explosion just yet. Some of the toys were just starting to come out.
This was the summer of
This
77?
was the
or-
fall
Fall.
of 1977.
Okay.
Right.
And Lisa, you're Richard's older sister, right?
Only by 21 months.
Oh.
And my father called up and said, "Do you guys want to go see Darth Vader?"
Dot.
Darth Vader.
Really?
He had a thick Boston accent, so his name wasn't Darth Vader. It was Darth Vader. So we walked into Jordan Marsh, and here's my dad. My dad, when he wanted some information, he wouldn't just ask someone. He would just announce it throughout the whole store. "Hey, where's Darth Vader? Where's Darth Vader?" And they led us quickly up to the toy department.
So do you remember, Rich, when we went in and were looking around for him?
Uh-huh.
And I remember him walking by us.
Well, I remember, first of all, Darth Vader's in the toy department. That was no accident. Because they had just...
Well, of course.
So here comes a manager telling all the kids that Darth Vader just landed, and he's going to be out there very soon to meet all the kids. But before we see him, feel free to browse around and show your parents all the new Star Wars toys. And as much as we were into the toys, we just wanted to see Darth Vader.
That makes sense. Now, I have a question. Did you think he was going to come through a door that they were going to blow up the door and he's going to come walking out?
Anything was possible.
Okay.
Anything. Our mind was just clear, ready for new information.
I think that's what I would expect in my head.
That's not what we got.
Oh.
We got some guy walking out of the employee lounge, dressed in the Don Post mask and a silk cape with a button-down black shirt, black pants.
And a helmet. Darth Vader helmet.
And the Don Post helmet. And
boots at least?
No, black.
Really?
Black
I
tie
don't remember.
shoes.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh. What did you think, Lisa?
Well, okay, so do you
your impression?
remember him walking by us? I think we were trying to find the department.
Oh.
And him walking by us, and we're like, oh my God, there he is. And we kind of like ran after him. That's what I remember. That's what I thought I remembered.
This is 36 years ago, and I was much younger.
That's true.
21 months younger than you. So.
I just remember him not being around a bunch of kids and maybe walking towards the toy department, and then we ran up to him and followed him, and he gave us his autograph. Do you remember him giving us the autograph?
I remember him giving us the autograph, but in the toy department.
Okay, I remember.
As he's greeting all the kids, and for some reason he never spoke.
Well, that's because
He would nod his head, and I kept thinking it was odd that we could see his neck. Because in that Don Post helmet,
okay.
you can still see the back of your neck.
And now, Richard, you are 8, correct?
Yeah.
I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Because I was 10.
So, and even though I was picking out all the flaws in this costume, because I don't recall Darth Vader ever wearing a button-down black shirt.
No.
Or
Did he have a cape?
he had a silk cape.
Okay. He had to have a cape because that's very common to
But just Darth Vader clearly has the chest piece. He's got the stomach plate. He's got the belt that lights up, and he had none of that. So for me, it was just very odd.
That is.
My head couldn't really distinguish between Darth Vader and someone just dressing up as Darth Vader to make mall appearances.
Do you remember it being really crowded at the toy department? I'm trying to remember because all I remember is seeing him outside the toy department.
I don't remember it being
that crowded.
a ton of kids.
Yeah.
Because maybe it just wasn't that well advertised.
That's why I think I don't remember seeing a lot of kids around. I remember having them go by us. That's why I remember that. And we kind of chased after him, saying, "Oh, we got to follow him because he's going probably to the toy department." That's why I'm thinking we didn't see him until he passed by us.
Okay.
You don't remember that? Yeah, you were younger. That's what I remember.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah. Did we ever see Darth Vader somewhere else? Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so after he ran his time out,
yeah,
he said bye to everybody. I remember telling him, "Darth Vader, you're my favorite Star Wars guy and my friends. We all like Darth Vader. You're our favorite." And he just looked at me.
Aww.
Can you just a nod at least, or give me a salute? Give me something.
Nothing.
Give me a fist pound. Anything that acknowledges what I'm saying, and I think at that point I was beginning to realize maybe this isn't Darth Vader.
Wearing sneakers instead of boots.
Yeah, maybe this isn't the Darth Vader from the movie.
Well, that's okay.
But this is Darth Vader from the employee lounge.
Maybe it was that store manager.
And so we got his autograph, and he was ushered away. I don't recall him being there that long.
No, because there wasn't many kids there.
And then he was holding the lightsaber we had as kids. Now, these weren't like the master replicas like we have now. These were a flashlight with a tube, white tube on it, with a gel over the lens to change the color. He had one of these, and things were not adding up. Because I'm looking at him thinking, I've got one of those. So if I've got one of those, why do you have one of those?
Right.
This is clearly not the lightsaber that you used to kill Ben Kenobi.
You were a smart kid.
I was, but at the same time, I was still just into the moment, into the excitement.
Like, you wanted to believe he was Darth Vader.
And that kind of took over any sensibilities that I had.
Right.
Because I wanted to believe it.
So besides Jordan Marsh...
And then, hold on. And then when he was ushered away, then the manager came back, and I remember him just overselling all these toys. They were Star Wars toys. They sold themselves.
Yeah.
And so I got my dad to get me the R2-D2 model. And what did you get?
C-3PO.
You got C-3PO.
I remember that.
And a week later, who owned your C-3PO model?
I think you stole it from me.
No,
After I
you
worked
realized
hard on it and worked at it and
worked at my bantha butt.
okay.
You realized, oh, we gotta put work into this. You gotta actually glue it.
Forget it.
Yeah, remember? In fact, when I was just Facebooking our old friend Cheryl Valenti, and the first thing I brought up was, remember the time when I had a C-3PO model, and when I glued it, you had to hold it, until the glue cures. And remember, you had to hold the model for me for 20 minutes because the glue just wouldn't cure. And she remembered that.
Wow.
And I don't think the glue ever cured because it melted the plastic.
That is so funny. I don't remember that part of it.
Yeah,
but
model glue for me never worked. And the R2 model is in my Star Wars room.
And where's C-3PO? Gave up on him?
He just fell apart.
Oh.
He just fell apart.
That's because nobody was holding the pieces long enough,
Yeah, because
maybe.
you wouldn't do it.
No patience.
And then cut to a couple of months later, Darth Vader was going to be at Bradley's department store.
That's what I think I'm remembering about seeing him walk by us.
It was me, you, and
Your friends.
our mother, and our friend Sean Doherty, and his mom. And it was one of these situations where we couldn't tell the other kids in the neighborhood. Because if they all knew, they'd all want to come.
Right.
And our mom and Sean Doherty's mom, we didn't want to take responsibility for all these
Right.
kids.
Oh, yeah.
So it was very, very hush-hush operation.
Bradley's in Watertown.
Those are
Yes.
sometimes the best kind.
It was a DTTN event. Don't tell the neighborhood. And so this being was a big event, so my mom made me wear these my brown itchies.
Oh.
Polyester church itchies.
Oh, these are the most uncomfortable pants to ever put in.
Why?
Because it was an event we were going out to.
Well,
we were going to see Darth Vader.
Yes.
And
but
she
to
made
preface
you wear
this,
those? Really? I really don't remember that, but that's like child abuse.
Richard remembers this.
Why would she make you wear them
My
going to
itchies.
Bradley's? That's
Because
really
they were
weird.
dress pants, and we were going to see the Dark Lord of the Sith. It makes sense. But I remember being so excited that they didn't bother me that day.
Oh.
The only time they never bothered me. But enough about the itchies. So we all piled up in the station wagon, drove down to Bradley's. Sean and I raced out of the car, raced to the toy department, and there's no Darth Vader.
What happened?
And we're racing around, going up and down the aisles. Where's Darth Vader? Little did we know, what we should have known, Darth Vader wasn't in the toy department. He was, for some reason, they put Darth Vader in the women's clothing department.
The Emperor wanted something.
So weird.
That's why we couldn't figure it out. I remember him being right next to the leg stockings. The one that came in the egg?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Legs.
Yeah, like the egg that Mork came down in.
Oh, yeah.
We were racing around and we can hear the Star Wars music. Where's that coming from?
That is really weird.
And by the time we got there, the line was already 3 departments long.
But we still waited.
Oh, of course we
I'm
did.
sure we
Of
did,
course
right.
we did.
Yeah.
And we waited in line, and this was the actual movie used costume. This was the
Oh,
screen
more
used
authentic.
costume.
Yeah.
This is Darth Vader. I believed this was Darth Vader. Why he was in Bradley's, I don't know, but he made his way across the galaxy, and he's now in Bradley's, and he's signing autographs.
What year was that? Same year?
This was maybe a few months later, so I'm guessing 78. Now, do you
Right.
remember this?
I remember him being at Bradley's, but not in the women's department. I don't know why. I don't remember that part, but I don't.
Probably didn't boggle your mind like it did
Yeah,
mine.
I don't know. It's weird. It's very, very strange. Was he ever at Zayre's? He was never at Zayre's, right? Was he ever somewhere else?
Well, he was going to be at Zayre's department store.
That's
but
what I'm thinking.
I think after we had seen him at Jordan Marsh, I didn't want to be let down again. So, and Zayre not being the top quality department store,
Right.
I kind of saw the writing on the wall there. But a few months had passed, and Darth Vader was going to be appearing again, so
At Bradley's?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we wanted to go and see him.
Yeah.
We had to go and see him that time because at that point Star Wars was very few and far between
Right.
products and anything.
Now, do you still have his autograph?
Oh, I sure do. I have both autographs.
Well, yay.
Did he write it on
But-
a Star Wars card?
Yeah, however, when he went up to the podium, he was up at a podium and be waving at all the
Right.
kids. And the guy inside the costume, his name was Kermit Eller. He was the one that put his footprints in the Man's Chinese Theater because David Prowse is all the way in England, so they needed someone to fill in the suit while here in America.
Really? I didn't know that.
So this guy got the job because he fit the suit. He's like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, right.
So here was Kermit Eller in the Darth Vader costume. The guy was huge, and it was the actual costume. And we went up to the podium, and the woman beside him would give him a movie still, and he'd be like writing his name on it, and then hand it to somebody else, and then they would hand it to us.
Right.
We got in line a couple of times, and after the second time, I'm noticing that his name was already on the movie still.
Oh.
Because he can't see out of the mask.
Right.
He was just holding a Bic pen and pretending to write. Because from the angle we were at,
Ah.
I could tell he wasn't.
See, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
well,
funny.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got in line like 4 or 5 times. And the last time, I waved at him. I said, Darth Vader! And he made eye contact with me. I don't remember anything else until like a day later.
It's kind of like your Harrison Ford
Yeah.
making eye contact
Yeah.
with
Like
you
when Harrison
moment.
Ford just made eye contact with me, your mind goes blank.
Yeah.
But now here's Darth Vader, his big helmet looking right at you. Well, as a 9-year-old, what do you do?
Right. Oh.
And I don't remember anything else that happened after that. Do you recall carrying me to the car?
No.
So I guess you didn't carry me to the car.
This is Richard's big sister Lisa, and I am skywalking through Neverland.
So for the next couple months, we're going to introduce a new segment, Run Disney Prep. Because I and you, Richard, and my friend Monique, and my parents actually, we are all going to be doing some Run Disney races coming up in January and February.
Now, how many of these races have you done? I lost count.
Yeah, I have done, I want to say 4.
You did 4.
Yes.
I'm a good husband. I listen. Name the races.
All right, the Tinkerbell Half Marathon,
In the year...
2011 and 2012.
Okay.
And then I've done then I guess 3. I've done the Disney Half Marathon in August of 2011.
And where did you place in each of these marathons?
You know, I'm in like the top third of my age group, something like that.
Now, these are held at Disney World and Disneyland?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, Run Disney is a corporation, part of a Disney affiliate, obviously, that hosts these races throughout the year in Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Disneyland, currently, there's only 2 races. There's the Tinkerbell Half, which is kind of women-centric, and there's the Disneyland Half Marathon.
Women-centric?
Yeah, like basically out of 10,000 runners, 8,000 are women.
Those are good odds.
Never tell me the odds.
Those odds you can tell me.
Exactly. So the Disneyland Half Marathon is held in August every year, and that is comprised of all genders. Well, any gender can,
Okay, pop quiz. Name all genders.
male and female.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Now, this next one is going to be when?
It's going to be January 19th.
At Disneyland.
Yes. And it's 13.1 miles that you run all around backstage and through Disneyland and through Disney California Adventure and through the streets of Anaheim as the local cheerleaders and bands and dance teams cheer you on. And it's just amazing. All Run Disney races always are kind of the same thing where you can run in parts of Disneyland that you don't usually get to see, including the backstage. And they also have floats from various parades out. And you can take pictures with them. You can see the backstage, the stables where the horses are kept, also where the trains are kept, and some of the Disneyland vehicles as well. And also there's characters along the route. So it's really neat. It's just this awesome race you're running as the sun comes up. And it's so cool. So in January, Monique Haar and I are going to be running the Tinkerbell Half Marathon, January 19th. It's coming up. And then February of this year is the Disney Princess Half Marathon. And that is held in Walt Disney World. And Richard, you are coming to that too.
I get to be a princess for the day. I get to be the princess for the day.
Yeah, in fact, we have to pick your princess.
Leia.
Okay, that works.
I'll be Princess Leia.
Nice.
In the metal bikini.
No.
Then the bikini from Saturday Night Live.
Okay. I don't know about that. Oh, but actually, you bring up a good point. One of the fun things about these races is a lot of runners run in costume. So
I can run in a metal bikini.
You could, but what you want to do is...
With the chafing?
You want to pick an outfit that is more suitable for running because you're going to get sweaty, so you don't want to wear some nice satin dress. My mom had this awesome idea of all of us wearing our Skywalking Through Neverland shirts.
Representing.
Yep, but then adding elements of costumes so that we are each a character that is skywalking through Neverland. So, for instance, I'm going to be Tinkerbell because, yeah, I can't not be Tinkerbell. And Monique, she's going to be Rosetta from the Disney Fairies movies. Mom's going to be Queen Clarion from the Disney Fairies movies. Dad was thinking of being Captain Hook and growing out his mustache and beard again. And Richard, we have to pick something for you. Maybe Peter Pan?
We talking the Sandy Duncan version?
What's that?
You just showed your age.
Yes,
so
did.
I. All right, so those ideas are kind of floating out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to be me and you.
Yes.
And
Monique. This is for the princess.
Okay.
One. Me, Monique, you, my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, I think we're going to meet up with two of our friends in Florida, the Groomies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're gonna meet us there. Okay, good.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'm getting caught up. I've been kind of sick, so my memory's kind of fuzzy right now.
That's okay.
So, okay. So, Anthony Hamedel.
Yes.
And Christina Groom.
Yes.
Will meet us there. Okay, good deal.
Yeah. So that'll be really fun.
And this is held when?
February 23rd, 2014.
Nice. Now, there's 2 races, though.
Yes. Oh, you know what? The race that you guys are all doing, that all 5 of us are all doing,
It's February 23rd.
is February 22nd, the 10K.
So for those of us who can't convert the Ks, how many miles is that?
6.2 miles.
6.2 miles.
Yeah.
When did I sign up for that?
You just went 2.5 miles this morning. It was pretty good.
You have to do it in one day?
Yes, you have to do it within a 16-minute per mile time limit. Otherwise, you don't get the bling.
Oh, I want the bling.
Exactly.
All right, so that's the run that I'm going to do. And then the next day...
Yes, the next day, Monique and I are going to do the Princess Half Marathon, which, because we're signed up for both races, we are entered into the Glass Slipper Challenge.
Where you get to run in glass slippers? That doesn't sound too safe.
It's just called the Glass Slipper Challenge because it's just an awesome name and it's the princess
That's very misleading.
race. Why?
Because it would give you the impression that you have to run in glass slippers.
So they just think of a fun name to call each challenge that rolls off the tongue. So Glass Slipper Challenge just kind of sounds awesome.
Well, if you run both those races...
Yes, the 10K and the half marathon.
Yes.
One day apart.
Yes.
Then you complete the Glass Slipper Challenge and you get a special medal.
Ooh.
As well. In fact, after the Princess Half Marathon on February 23rd, Monique and I are going to receive 3 medals at once. 3 blingy, awesome medals. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's because not only are we completing the half marathon, which you get a medal for that, we are completing the Glass Slipper Challenge, so we get a medal for that. And then, because we both ran the Tinkerbell half marathon on the West Coast, we get a coast-to-coast medal.
Wow.
Which means we've ran both, a half marathon or a marathon on both the West and the East Coast. Isn't that exciting?
That makes it all worthwhile.
It totally does. I'm so excited.
So now, what are you doing to prep for these marathons?
Well, we're running a lot. Like, I just did 7 miles on Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, you were even running during our vacation.
8 miles on Saturday. Yes. Yeah. In fact, during vacation is when I kind of decided, oh, crap, I better run some more because I think I'd only run twice in December.
So when should I start prepping?
Well, you just started. You just started today.
So do I have to keep up with that?
Yes. Don't worry, I'll help you.
Hit it, R2.
Star Wars is everywhere.
My name, is C-3PO.
Kellogg's C-3POs.
Oh no! Darth Vader! Who? I'm a teenager from outer space.
This week on Vintage Videos, we decided to focus on not so vintage videos.
We thought it would be really fun to play for you something that we had just heard on The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it blew our minds when we saw this in the episode.
For those of you who watched The Big Bang, Leonard tries to get his girlfriend Penny an audition. She's kind of feeling down in the dumps about her career, so he gets her an online audition for Star Wars Episode 7.
How awesome is that they rolled that into the episode?
Yeah. So let's find out what happened on The Big Bang Theory.
What you're trying to do is hard, but people do make it, and I really do believe that you could be one of them.
Thank you.
And to show you how much I believe in you, I kind of got you an audition.
Are you serious? For what?
The new Star Wars movie.
What? How did you manage that?
There's this thing online, you put yourself on tape and just send it in. Anyone can do it.
Come on, Leonard. This is just a PR stunt.
So, even if it is, you have a huge advantage because you're an actual actress. Wildwit sent his in 2 days ago. Maybe it is a long shot, but sometimes long shots happen. Luke Skywalker was only given one chance to destroy the Death Star. He had to get a torpedo into an exhaust port that was only 2 meters wide. But with the help of the Force, wow, I can feel you hating me right now.
Star Wars audition, take 1. Starring Howard Joel Wolowitz, real-life astronaut. Vader is here. Now, on this moon, I felt his presence. He's come for me. He can feel when I'm near.
How many times do I have to tell you to replace the toilet paper when it's empty?
I'm in the middle of something.
So am I.
Then there's another video clip that we wanted to show to you because this was really fun.
Yeah, I was sitting watching the Disney Parks Christmas Day Parade.
On Christmas morning.
Yes, when all of a sudden...
The big moment came toward the end when they announced Santa Claus.
He was coming on his sleigh, and here were the reindeer. They were dancing around. It's like, oh, reindeer's here. Santa Claus must be close.
And the smoke parted, and there he was. Darth Vader. Not Santa Claus, but Darth Vader sitting in Santa's sleigh.
Yep, with, of course, the signature.
Which was really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of these moments that you didn't expect.
No,
Because every year during the parade, they always introduce Santa Claus at the very end, and there he is. But nope, not this year.
Take it away, Vader.
I believe this is the man we've been waiting for, the jolly old elf himself, Santa Claus! Wait, I know that black is supposed to be slimming. That's not Santa. That's Darth Vader, and his stormtroopers are overtaking the reindeer. Nick, I'd better find out what's going on, so I'm gonna throw it back to you.
Neil, I had my trouble with Darth Vader last year. Thankfully, the Rebel Alliance was on my side.
So now that it's 2014, we have a couple of really big things coming up next year. First of which, Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
Woohoo!
Now, we've been talking to a lot of people about doing meetups, and it's the closer it gets, the more exciting it gets. And being in 2013, it was just one of those things that was off in the distance. Now that it's 2014, it seems like it's that much closer.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like, oh, next year.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And people we have been talking to on our Facebook page and through Skype that we've never met in person before. Now we get a chance to meet you guys, which will be really fun. That's going to be one of my highlights of Celebration.
Yes, definitely. Now, how many more days until that happens?
I'm going to guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 461 days.
You would be correct.
Oh my, that was just a guess.
Really? A guess?
No, it wasn't a guess at all. It's written down right here.
Yes.
And then just a few months later, we have Star Wars Episode 7.
Yay!
Now we get to say something we haven't been able to say in 10 years.
What's that?
There's a new Star Wars movie coming out next year.
Woohoo!
We haven't been able to say that since 2004 when we were counting down the days to Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my goodness. But guess what? There are 709 more days.
That's going to fly by like 708 days. Oh, I can't wait. So the question is, will we be waiting in line?
Of course.
Well, of course we'll be waiting in line. However, with like Fandango and those kind of online services, you can show up 5 minutes before showtime and get you a good seat.
Well, you might not get the best seat.
With theaters now having reserved seating, you can pretty much get your seat. But like when I was waiting for the prequels for a couple of days on end, I had such a good time talking to a lot of fans and meeting new people and seeing old friends. So that's half the fun.
Definitely.
So that'll wrap up episode 13 of Skywalking Through Neverland. This was a really fun episode. I loved putting it together because it was just so much fun talking to a lot of old friends about things I had forgotten about.
Oh. Yeah, it was a trip down memory lane. We hope everyone here is having a good 2014 so far.
So do you know who's having a great 2014?
Actually, yes, I do. It's our friend, fellow podcaster, Trisha Barr.
On January 1st, she had released her first novel, Wind.
That's spelled Wynde. I know it's available on Amazon, so you can get it there. And to find out more about her novel, please go to her blog at fangirlblog.com. Congratulations, Trisha!
So who out there had made resolutions for 2014 that they plan on keeping past January 16th?
I don't know. Did you?
Yes, I did. One of my resolutions is to finish Kenobi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started it last August. I'm a slow reader.
Yeah.
But then again, J.W. Rinsler put out Making of Return of the Jedi, so that kind of took precedence. That's a thick book. So.
And then, of course, you had to read that with all the extras, features on your iPad.
Yes. So my resolution is to finish Kenobi and Making of Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
So what resolutions did you make that you intend on keeping?
I haven't really thought about it, but honestly...
That's because you're perfect.
Well, thank you. But one of the things I love to watch or try to do is get more followers for our podcast on Twitter and on Facebook. And in fact,
that's a good resolution.
I know. So just this week, actually, we reached 300 fans on Facebook.
Nice.
Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook page. And on @SkywalkingPod on Twitter, we just hit the 500 followers mark.
Nice-er. So do you know how we can get those numbers up?
How?
By all you people referring a friend.
Oh, all the Skywalkers out there?
All the Skywalkers.
Oh.
Please help us out. Refer a friend. We want this to be enjoyed by everybody.
As many people as possible.
And we're still running into people who, when we were just at Disneyland, said, "Oh, we love podcasts. We love Disney. We love Star Wars. Here you go." And they were very happy.
Yeah. There's so many people walking around Disneyland with Star Wars shirts on. It's like amazing.
So once again, if you have any resolutions, send them on in. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah, send them to share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. That is our email address.
And where else can they get a hold of us?
Well, also, they can go to skywalkingthroughneverland.com, the website, and on there is all the different ways to find us through Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube.
So any which way, hit us up. We'd love to hear from you, and let us know what you think of the show.
Yeah, what you think of the show, what you'd like to hear on the show. We
What's
love
working
feedback.
for you, what's not working for you, what you enjoy most hearing.
Yeah, we're so thankful for that feedback, and we definitely listen to it.
Yeah, then we can definitely steer the show to what you want.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, and remember, Neverland on Alderaan.
Thank you for listening to Skywalking Through Neverland. We would love to hear what you thought of the show. Please send feedback and suggestions. You can email us at share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Please visit us at our website, skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/skywalkingthrough-neverland and on Twitter at skywalkingpod. All material submitted becomes the property of Skywalking Through Neverland and are subject for use on our show. You can help support Skywalking Through Neverland by posting about us on Facebook, Twitter, or just tell another fanboy or girl. We would also really appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes. A link to our iTunes page can be found on skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Skywalking Through Neverland was created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Segment producers are David Scale, Richard Woloski, Sarah Woloski, and Mark Gushewitz. Graphic design and website design by Sarah Woloski. Technical advisor is Peter Heitman. Skywalking Through Neverland is not affiliated with Lucasfilm Limited, Disneyland Resorts, or the Walt Disney Company. All names, sounds, and related items of Star Wars and Disney are registered, trademarked, and copyright Lucasfilm Limited and the Walt Disney Company and their respective trademark and copyright holders, all rights reserved. Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Hey Hey Entertainment, copyright 2013, all rights reserved. No part of this show may be repurposed, reproduced, redistributed, or rebroadcasted without the written permission of Hey Hey Entertainment.
Sorry, all that had to be said.
Goodbye. Live long and prosper. Wait, sorry. May the Force be with you.
And cut. That's a wrap.